Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's video, and today's video is going to be another tale from when I worked in the bar. So let's just get straight into it. The year is 2018. What a magical time to be alive. And it is New Year's Eve. It is pumping. The pub is super busy. We're quite late on into the night. And yeah, it's just a really busy New Year's Eve. So I'm working behind the bar, right? You ever seen the Matrix, Neo, when he's like, he's dodging all the bullets? That's me. However, I'm pouring drinks, right? I'm going at supersonic speed, right? I'm locked in. This was before locked in was even a term. But I'm locked in, right? The pub is absolutely bouncing. I'm pouring drinks as fast as I possibly can to stay on top of it. As I say, it is super busy. Now when I say busy, New Year's Eve busy was a different level of busy, right? People were packed into the pub like sardines. I mean, literally, if you were on the other side of the bar and you were trying to go anywhere, you would literally be brushing shoulders with everyone. That is how packed the place was, right? And this was all before, COVID, right? So back then, people didn't care. It was a brilliant time to be alive. I actually kind of missed those days. So the pub is absolutely bouncing. I'm serving drinks, right, trying to be as quick as I can, right, keep on top of it, doing dishes, and every now and then I sort of pop my head up, just to make sure there's no trouble brewing or anything, right? Just to make sure the atmosphere is good, make sure the music's not too loud, right? Just doing your bartender duties and checks. And then at one point, I pop my head up and just have a little look around like a meerkat, right? And in the crowd, I spot an anomaly. And you might be thinking, Carl, what do you mean an anomaly? Well, I spot someone who is sticking out like a sore thumb. Now you might be thinking, Carl, how is this person sticking out like a sore thumb, right? Now it wasn't how they looked, it wasn't how they looked or anything like that, right? Well, it kind of was. It was completely based on their behavior. This person was physically in the room with us, okay? He was physically present. However, this man's consciousness had left his body a couple of hours prior, right? This man was stumbling through the crowd, and I don't think he had any control of his limbs, right? He was just running off of pure instinct at this point. His legs were just walking him, okay? His eyes, I don't even know if his eyes were still communicating with one another. This man was fucked, okay? I mean, absolutely gone. So he stuck out like a sore thumb in this massive crowd of people. Now, as a barman, right, I can't allow this in the bar, right? If the police come in and see somebody in this sort of state, right, they're going to think, oh, well, they've been serving this person to allow them to get to this state, so they're being irresponsible with serving, so we're going to shut the place down, right? This is sort of what's at the back of your mind when you see somebody this drunk, so you immediately think, right, okay, we've got to get them out. So I leave the bar and I go around and I start wading through the crowd of people, right? I spot him, right, okay, I need to go get him. So I'm wading through this crowd of people. Remember, everyone's shoulder to shoulder, right? So I'm literally like squeezing through people to try and find him. I can't find where this guy's gone. Until eventually, it's sort of like in the middle of the pub, I sort of see him. He's right in front of me, and this guy is just, again, physically he's here, but his consciousness, he is just, again, running on pure instinct. He's just looking around, right? He has no idea where he is or what he is doing. So I sort of come up to him and I sort of tap him on the shoulder. Now bear in mind, it is really busy, so it's really loud, right? The music's loud, everyone's talking, you can barely hear. So I tap this guy on the shoulder and he turns around to me. He sort of flicks his body around, right? And I don't know, maybe one eye manages to make eye contact with me. And I sort of gesture to him and say, no, look, I'm sorry, bud, you've had too much to drink. It's time for you to leave. And what this guy does is he sort of looks at me, right? And he's sort of like in shock. He's like, right? He turns to me And with every bit of energy and consciousness that he has, the two brain cells that are rubbing together to keep him up, in this man's infinite wisdom at this one point in time, he decides, I'm in trouble. So what does he do? He swings his head back and he headbutts me square between the eyes. And I take it, oh, what the fuck? I was not expecting that. So I sort of take a second, I'm just stunned. I'm like, did he just headbutt me? What? So anyway, after I've regained myself a little bit, the guy's still just standing there, not really understanding what's going on. I just grab him by the collar, right? I grab him by the scruff of his neck, and I understand the side exit, the side door is not too far away, so I grab him, and I just start pushing. I just shove this guy with everything I've got through the crowd, just towards the exit, right? So we get to these like double doors. You remember, like the old Western films, like the swinging doors? It was like that, but two proper doors. So I push him through those doors, and we both sort of tumble to the floor, right? He hits the deck, I'm sort of on the floor like, what the fuck's going on? And my boss is acting as a bouncer on the side door, so he was outside, he had no idea any of this was going on, right? But he just sees us sort of barge through the door, this guy hit the deck, and he immediately sees, he's like, oh, Carl's sort of fighting this guy, okay, I'm going to get this guy. So my boss instantly grabs this guy in a headlock, right? And the guy, he didn't say anything at this point, he didn't say anything the entire time, because he's just, again, he's on another planet. So my boss grabs this guy in the headlock and he just drags him away out down the street and just, shoos him off. So anyway, I walk back in for the double doors, and instantly, as soon as I walk back through, about 2 or 3 people jump on me. They're like, whoa, 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 no fighting, no fighting, no fighting. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm the barman! Where were you like 10 seconds ago when the guy just headbutted me? Like, oh, sorry, Carl, sorry, we didn't realize it was you. I was like, you guys are useless. And so that was the end of that. So I went on about the night, New Year's, right? It was brilliant. Really busy night, really, really tiring such, but it was a really, really good night. And then the next morning rolls around and I wake up and I check my phone. And this is where the evidence sort of comes into play. So I check my phone, I see I've got a message request on Facebook. I'm like, who's trying to message me? And I open the message and I see the guy that headbutted me obviously found out what he had done. So then he decided to give me a message, and as the message reads, hey man, I was told I headbutted you last night and I would just like to say sorry. As you can see, January 1st, this was the next day. He'd obviously came to the realization, thought, right, I better apologize for my actions. Now, honestly, looking back on it, it's a funny memory. It's probably one of my fondest memories, right? Because it's just so funny. But I think, looking back on it, when I walked up to the guy and I tapped him on the shoulder, and what I think happened in his mind, right? Bear in mind, he's away with it, right? He's barely any idea what's going on. He's just sort of like looking around. And I think because it was so loud, right? He couldn't hear what I was saying. He just felt someone tap him on the shoulder, right? He turned round and he just saw someone gesturing like, you outside. So that's where I think, the instincts kicked in, like, oh fuck, I'm getting started on. Boom! So he stuck the head in me. So that is the end of that story. That's the story about me being physically assaulted when I was working. Oh man, sometimes I do miss working behind the bar. But anyway, that is today's story. I hope you've enjoyed it. I quite like making these sort of story videos from my time as a barman. So yes, that is today's video. I hope you enjoyed, guys. I hope you got a little giggle out of this. And thank you very much for watching. Adios.